Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my almost 2 months breastfeeding journey. Breastfeeding is no joke, and I, just want to say that before I start this video or get into it anymore, that it doesn't matter how you feed your baby. There's no right or wrong way to feed your baby. For a long time, I was told that breastfeeding was the best for your baby, and scientifically, it is proven to be more healthier for your baby, but it isn't the only way to feed your baby. It's not the right way to feed your baby. Whatever way works for you. But for most of my whole life, I was told that you need to breastfeed your baby. You won't bond with your baby if you don't breastfeed your baby, and you won't love your baby as much. And I felt like this whole stigma around formula feeding was just wrong and not okay. But actually, I am a mom who did formula with my first daughter, and I don't regret that at all. I mean, yeah, I wished I would have tried to breastfeed her because I did produce a lot of milk then, and I didn't use it. And I do wish that I did, but I don't regret feeding my daughter formula. It's not that we didn't love each other, we didn't bond. If you guys know me personally, you know that my daughter and I are inseparable. Our bond is like no other, and it doesn't mean I love her any less because I didn't put her on my breast. So I just want to put that out there, that fed is best. Any way you feed your baby is the best way. As long as your baby is healthy and thriving and full and not hungry, you're doing an amazing job. So don't let anybody push you one way or the other. It is your choice at the end of the day. Don't forget that. So my breastfeeding journey started not just when my daughter was born, but it started during my pregnancy, and even actually before my pregnancy. I knew that I wanted to breastfeed my daughter, or my second daughter, and there was no changing my mind. And I spent my whole pregnancy on YouTube, talking to friends, like just educating myself on breastfeeding and nursing and like all of that stuff that comes along with all of that. So I was just getting as much research done as I could. I'm someone who can't go into something blind. I have to know about it first and kind of get a plan as like how things should go. And there's so many things and questions that I had for breastfeeding. Like, I was a mom who formula fed before, so I didn't know anything about breastfeeding other than you put your baby on your boob and that's that. But it's actually a lot harder than that, to be honest. So going into giving birth to my daughter, I knew that I wanted to breastfeed her. So after she was born, I latched her onto my breast. Like the first hour that they're born, you usually just put your baby to your boob and they know what to do. And she did. She was amazing. She latched. She loved being on the boob. She still loves being on the boob. Now, I will say it's not the most comfortable thing. It's actually very painful. I remember the first week or 2 weeks that my daughter was nursing, I remember my toes would just curl up every time she latched, and I felt like, honestly, my soul was being ripped out of me because it hurt so bad. And it wasn't that her latch was wrong, it's just that your nipples aren't used to having someone sucking on them. At least mine aren't used to that. And they are dry, they're cracked, they're raw, it's just not something that they're used to. My boobs did not bleed. I will say that they didn't end up bleeding, but I did start using that lanolin cream right away when even actually I started using it in the hospital. So I think that helped because they didn't bleed. They just were very, very sore. It took about 2 weeks for that like curling my toes sensation to go away. I will say that it still kind of hurts once she gets on, but after a while it's fine. And they are very sensitive still, and I'm almost 2 months into this whole nursing thing. So I guess some people just have more sensitive nipples, and that would be me right here. So as my breastfeeding journey kind of went on, like 2 weeks into breastfeeding, I noticed that my daughter was cluster feeding a lot. And I know that they say they cluster feed in the beginning to kind of get your milk supply to come and whatever. Well, I noticed she was cluster feeding all of the time. She wanted to be on my boob all the time. I felt like she almost wasn't satisfied. Like, she would come off of me and maybe sleep for a little bit, but she'd be crying again to feed. So I knew that, something was just not right. And I think it was like one night, I had just had enough. Like, I was like, I can't sleep. She's on me constantly and I can't sleep because I don't want to fall asleep while she's nursing, and something happened to her in my bed. So I wasn't sleeping very good, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to pump some milk and put it in a bottle, and hopefully my husband can help me feed her, or I, you know, can get a little bit of sleep. So I went and I grabbed my pump and I sat down in my room and I started pumping. And I think it was like 30 minutes into pumping and I literally had just like 3 drops of milk. Like, it was terrible. It was, I just remember bawling my eyes out because oh my God, I'm already emotional about it. But I just remember that feeling like, oh my God, my kid's hungry. And I couldn't believe that I was only producing just a few drops. So that was heartbreaking for me. So of course I got right on my phone and I was looking up like low supply and, you know, all of the things around not being able to produce enough milk for my daughter. So I called the pediatrician the next day and I told them what was going on, and they had just reassured me that, you know, babies feed differently than a pump, so they get more milk than a pump does. So I was a little bit more reassured, and they also told me that her stomach was like the size of my fingernail, so I guess it was okay. So I stopped stressing, we calmed down, we just kept nursing her. And then shortly I noticed that she was supposed to have like a wet diaper, like 5 wet diapers if she was 5 days old, or 4 wet diapers if she's 4 days old. But she was only maybe peeing in her diaper once or twice a day. I knew that something was wrong then too. And when she was urinating in her diapers, there was blood in her diaper. Now at her first visit with the doctors, I remember them saying something about a baby period, like little girls can sometimes have a period. And so when I saw the blood in her diaper, I was like, oh, that must be the period that babies get. And then it kept happening, and it was like a week into it and it was still happening, just slightly, just not a lot of blood, but like mucousy blood. So I made sure to let my doctor know about, or her doctor know about it when we went to her checkup. And so when we were at her checkup, I had mentioned that, one, there was blood in her diaper still from this baby period that they have. She still seemed very like unsatisfied. She was sleeping all the time. She was really not much, she wasn't really alert. And she just was sleepy, like just kind of lethargic almost, and her lips were really dry. I remember that too. And so the nurse weighed her, and she had dropped below her birth weight, and she was supposed to be above her birth weight. I think she lost like 1 pound. And so she was at like that mark where they were concerned, but they weren't so concerned that she needed to be admitted into the ER, but she definitely was dehydrated. So my supply of milk was not where it needed to be to support her and be the only food that she has. So they had told me I should start supplementing. So, oh God, she's awaking. She's on the baby monitor right here. I think she's starting to wake up a little bit. But so they told me that I should start supplementing. And right then when she said supplementing, I just broke down and started crying. And I felt honestly like a horrible mom. Like I felt like I could not, I still kind of feel like that. I still feel like I can't give my daughter what I wanted to give her. I never wanted to give her formula, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I wanted to be able to exclusively breastfeed her and that be the only thing. And I wanted to do that for a whole year. And I just never wanted to introduce formula. But unfortunately, that's not the way it was for us. I did have to introduce formula. So our plan from then was to just nurse her, give her a bottle, and then after giving her a bottle, I have to pump for a half hour. And we started giving her formula bottle with that tube. So you put the tube kind of like next to your breast, and so it acts like she's still breastfeeding, but she's getting that formula through the tube. We did that for a couple days, and then it just got way too much, like too much. Tyler was headed back to work, and I could not physically, emotionally do all of that all by myself while taking care of 2 other kids. So I just started giving her a bottle. So we would breastfeed for 15 minutes, a bottle, and then I would pump for a half hour. And I have been doing that for almost 2 months now. It's very tiring. Just recently I have switched it up, but I'll get into that. So it was devastating. I met with the lactation nurse. She told me to do some certain things like pumping all the time, oatmeal. She told me to try some supplements and drink some mother's milk tea, some yogurt, and just some things that should help my milk supply. So I'm still doing all of those things now. I'm still drinking the tea, I'm still eating the oatmeal every day, I'm still drinking these body armors, I am drinking a ton of water, just still doing things to help my supply. But honestly, my supply hasn't really changed much. I mean, it's definitely way better than a few drops, but I can still pump for like 10 minutes and only get about an ounce or two, depending on how much she nursed. So they don't really have a reason for my low supply. They think that it's because I did fertility meds to get pregnant with her. So my hormones are just kind of out of whack, and that's probably why I didn't get pregnant easy, because my hormones were all screwed up. And now that I want to breastfeed, my hormones are screwed up, and I'm not producing enough prolactin to produce much milk. So that's, you know, really shitty. I just feel like I wanted to get pregnant and I couldn't get pregnant, and I tried so hard and I couldn't, and now I want to breastfeed for, you know, the only thing that she eats is breast milk, and I can't do that. And it just sucks when you've had a plan for however long you've had it and it doesn't work out the way you want to. And I still am struggling today, like feeling like I just feel so bad that I can't produce enough for her. But she is thriving though. She's a little chunker. She has gained all of her weight back. She is about almost 10 pounds now, and she's almost 2 months old. So she's doing so good, and she's peeing and pooping all the time, and she's thriving. So that makes me feel better. Okay, so I had to go get Brix because she's waking up from her nap. But as far as right now on our breastfeeding journey, I am producing enough milk now so I can keep up with how much she needs. I'm not producing any more, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not producing enough to like store any milk or anything, which is fine because I don't really leave her. And I don't like, she doesn't go to daycare or anything. She's home with me, so I don't really need to pump. So I've quit pumping as of right now. We are trying to just kind of wean off her supplement. I got the okay from the lactation nurse and her doctor. We're gonna still do some weight checks just to make sure that she's not dropping weight, and if she is, we can go back on our supplement, or, you know, whatever we need to do to get her, you know, back on track. But we are slowly trying to take away her supplement bottles. So our schedule right now is nurse as much as she wants, switch her. If she wants to nurse for an hour, let her nurse for an hour. And if she seems content after her nursing session, then I don't need to give her a supplement. But if she's still kind of fussy and, you know, asking for more, then I will go ahead and give her a supplement. But I'm not pumping anymore. I don't have to pump for a half hour or all day or every hour. It was just a lot of work, and my nipples felt like they were gonna fall off because they were constantly stimulated. So that makes me happy. I went from producing very minimum, a few drops after a half hour, to now being able to, you know, nurse her. I can't be one of those moms that nurse for like, you know, 15 minutes and their babies are full. It takes me a while. It takes Brixlee a while to get full from me because she has to be sucking a lot, and for a while, because my milk is not amazing. But we're getting there, slow but sure. I'm not gonna give up. I've been 2 months into this. I have a lot of people telling me, you know, it's easier just to give up, and, you know, you've done so good so far, you've done your part, now just put her straight on formula. But I'm not going to. I don't want to. I'm going to keep, you know, nursing her as much as she wants. If she needs that supplement, she can have it. I'm gonna just keep doing whatever I can to make sure that I can still give her breast milk, and I know that it's healthy for her, and I want the best for her. And you know, I'm not saying that formula is not the best, but in my own preference, I wanted to breastfeed her for a year, and I'm going to do whatever I can to make that happen for her. And I definitely thought before this journey started that I was just gonna put her on my boob and it was gonna be amazing, and I was going to pump a lot of milk and put it in my freezer. Like, I have those freezer bags still that I haven't even opened because I can't use them. I don't produce enough. And I just thought it was gonna be some easy thing. And that's how everybody kind of told me it was. But nobody really told me about like low milk supply and supplementing. And so if you're watching this and you're about to have a baby and your plan is to breastfeed, definitely keep a wide horizon. Keep an open mind, because sometimes it doesn't work out the way you want. No matter if you do everything that you're supposed to, it still just doesn't work in your favor. But just know that, you know, you can be an amazing mom without breast milk. And I'm still working on that myself, just trying to remind myself that I am still a good mom, even though I can't produce all the milk that all my friends can. But that is my breastfeeding story so far, 2 months into her life. I hope that soon I can update you guys and tell you that we are completely free of a supplement. That is my goal. But like I said, if we don't get there, that's okay. As long as she's thriving, I don't mind. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.